y'all? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to do a short yoga practice to open and release the hips and stretch out the hamstrings. I recently just came back from Hawaii, and that is a extremely long flight. And when you're 6'4" and you're sitting in a economy seat on an airplane, it is not very comfortable. I tried to get up and move around and stretch as much as I can, but coming back from that trip, I'm just very tight in my hips and my hamstrings, so I thought, what better way to get new videos for you guys, but also to stretch out my hamstrings and hips and just kind of open everything back up again. So we're gonna go ahead and get started in child's pose. Come onto your hands and knees, and take your knees as wide as you can, bringing your big toes together to touch. Using your hands, push your hips back onto your heels. I like to take some time to kind of wiggle around so I can get a little deeper into the pose, open up the hips a little more. Once you find a spot that you're comfortable in, go ahead and rest and bring your awareness to your breath. As you inhale, feel your ribs expanding, and with each exhale, sink a little deeper into the pose, maybe knees wider, maybe the hips go back a little bit more, and then just keep your awareness focused on your breath. After a few breaths in child's pose, we're going to slowly walk our hands into a seated position. Bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees fall out to the side. Taking a deep breath as you lengthen the spine, exhale, fold, bringing your forehead down towards your feet. You could even use your elbows to kind of push the knees out and down a little bit more. With each inhale, lengthen the spine, and with each exhale, sink deeper into the pose. Hold here for 3 to 5 breaths. After a few breaths in this pose, slowly lengthen the spine, and we're going to make our way into downward dog. Coming into a tabletop position, curl over the toes, lifting the tailbone up and back. You want to come into an upside down V. Take some time to walk out your dog, bending one knee and then the next, allowing the heels to sink deeper to the floor, opening up through the back and the shoulders and stretching the hamstrings. Then we're going to walk our feet up to our hands, coming into a forward fold. Just like downward dog, this is another great pose to release the back and stretch the hamstrings. You can cross your hands over the elbows, coming into ragdoll pose, and then just gently swaying side to side. In forward fold, I like to walk out my feet a little bit more, stretching the hamstrings. Make sure you're bringing your weight forward into the toes. Then we're going to step one leg back, coming into a low lunge position. You can roll one side of the mat over to protect that knee a little bit more with extra padding. And then placing your hands on the front thigh, we're going to slowly push those hips forward to open up the hips, stretch the quads. Hold here for about 10 breaths before we move on to the other side. Next, we're going to move into what's called lizard pose. So we're going to bring our hands to the mat and walk that front foot all the way over and off the side of the mat. Then I like to roll into the outer edge of that foot, letting that knee fall out to the side. It's kind of hard to see from this side, but you'll see that on the other side. But this is a great way to open up the hip a little bit more. When I'm in these poses, I like to hold them for about 10 breaths, but feel free to hold them as long as you feel comfortable for before moving on. We're gonna walk that foot back into center, curling over the back toes. We're gonna lift up and step forward into a forward fold and reunited. It feels so good. Stretch out those hamstrings a little bit more in your forward fold before moving on to the other side. Step the other foot back, lowering that knee down, coming into our low lunge. And then let's move from our low lunge into lizard. So bringing the hands down, go ahead and walk that foot all the way over off to the side of the mat. And as you can see, I'm rolling into the outer edge of that foot to allow that knee to fall out. That just allows you to get a little deeper into that hip so we can open it up and release some of the tension in that area. Again, stay here anywhere from 5 to 10 breaths or longer if you like before moving on. And then from here, we're gonna walk both feet back, coming back into a child's pose. You might notice that you can go a little deeper in child's pose now that we've started to open up the hips and release the back. So take some time and a couple long, deep breaths here. And then we're gonna move into what I call seated pigeon. Bringing your feet flat with your knees bent, cross one leg over, making a figure 4. Place your hands behind your back and using your hands, push into the floor to lengthen the spine, bringing your heart a little closer towards that front leg so you can feel that stretch. You want to allow the knee to release to the floor. Then we're going to do what I call rock the baby. We're going to grab a hold of that leg so that your foot goes into one elbow crease and the knee into the other elbow crease, linking the hands if possible, and we're gonna sit up nice and tall, gently rocking our baby. Extend the legs and shake them out before moving on to the other side. Again, hold this for anywhere from 5 to 10 breaths, but make sure you keep the spine lengthened throughout. And then let's finish that off, extending both legs, growing tall, lengthening the spine, and folding over the legs, grabbing the toes or the ankles or wherever you can. Take a big breath in to lengthen the spine and exhale to fold a little bit deeper, going as deep as you can and holding here. Next, we're gonna move into fire log pose. It's kind of like a cross-legged position, but a little bit wider. You wanna stack one foot on top of the knee and then the opposite knee on top of the opposite foot. Go ahead and fold, placing your forearms on top of the legs and using the weight of your body to push the knees down and out to the floor very gently. This is a deep hip opener. It also helps to stretch the IT band. And when you're ready, switch the sides. Again, making sure to hold this for as long as you can so we can really open up that hip area. Let's slowly roll up, coming out of our fire log, and we're gonna move into frog. So coming onto the hands and the knees in a tabletop position, walk your knees out as wide as you can. And then we wanna bring the ankle in line with the knee and the toes pointed out to the side, thinking big frog legs. Hands can come down on the mat or down to the forearm. I like to take a couple breaths, slowly moving back and forth to start to warm up the hip area. You want to take the knees as wide as you feel comfortable in this pose, and then once you find a position that you feel comfortable in, start to sink a little deeper into that, bringing the hips forward and down towards the floor, and hold for a long time. I like to hold this for 10 breaths or more. Once you're ready to come out of your frog position, let's go back into child's pose. And again, really pay attention to how you're starting to open up, and you can sink a little deeper into child's pose and take some time here. From our child's pose, we're going to move back into downward dog. Again, let's really pay attention and notice how we can go deeper in our downward dog this time. From this downward dog, we're going to move into pigeon, bringing one leg into the air. Bring that leg forward, so you're bringing your right knee over to the right wrist, and that foot goes across the mat. You want to try to get that leg as parallel to the front of the mat as possible, and then sinking the hips down. If you're really tight, you can place a yoga block or a pillow underneath that right side. You can stay lifted on the hands, or if you want to go deeper, fold down into the full expression of pigeon, and take some time here. Again, about 10 breaths is good. When you're ready to come out of your pigeon, we're going to curl over those back toes and press back into our downward dog. You can really feel how open the hip feels, and then extending that other leg into the air, place it for your pigeon and fold over, spending time to focus on the breath. This time to come out of the pigeon, we're just going to lift the upper body, roll onto the side, and swing the legs around. And we're going to end our practice in Supta Baddha Konasana. Laying down on the back, bring the soles of the feet together, letting the knees fall open to the sides like a book. Place your hands wherever you feel comfortable and close your eyes. Bring your awareness down into your body. With each inhale, feeling the ribs expand and the body fill with breath. And as you exhale, let your low back release a little bit more. Let the knees release a little bit more. This is a great way to end your practice, opening up the hips, stretching the psoas, and allowing the low back to release. Take as long as you can in Supta Baddha Konasana before finishing your practice. That's it for our practice today. A couple of great poses that will really help you to open up the hips, release some tension in the hips, and really help to stretch out those hamstrings. All of that helps to release the low back and help relieve some low back pain. This can be perfect after work when you've been sitting all day, or like me, who's on a really long flight, and it's just a really great way to kind of bring the body back into balance. You could see from some of the video, that my right side was a lot tighter, so it was a little bit harder for me to go deeper into some of those poses when I was on the right side. But definitely take these poses and take them as long as you want to hold them. I recommend about 5 to 10 breaths, but you could actually go longer if you wanted to, particularly in pigeon pose at the end. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up to help this channel grow. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button so that you can be here for all things wellness. We're going to focus on everything it takes to be forever young, to reverse aging, reduce pain and inflammation, lose weight, feel more vital so that you can live a more joyful life and love the skin that you're in. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, stay well and stay fabulous. Bye!